Feel the seat underneath you. Feel yourself sinking down into it, enfolding you. It's a nice feeling. All you feel is a pleasant warmth.
Okay, so for those who are in the dark at the minute, the point of this title is for two reasons. One, it kind of suits the film I'm talking about, and two, I'm not allowed to review this movie, so I have to call it something else. Perfect, eh? Now, today I'm reviewing Lars von Trier's Antichrist. Yeah. I'm reviewing that movie. I watched it last night, I rented it. Sorry if my voice is a tiny bit quiet, but parents are downstairs. Yep. But here's the lowdown, okay? We have two characters played by Charlotte Gainsbourg and Willem Dafoe. And these are just simply called he and she. Now, what happens through the film is at the very beginning, these characters are upset by the travesty and just the horrible situation that happens of their son falling out of a window and dying. It gets a lot more silly. While they're having intimate relations, shall we put it nicely, then what happens is we find that the woman, the mother, she is in a deep bit of depression, and she's trying to conquer her fear, which is basically, you can't really work it out. It's basically the forest and everything around it and the Garden of Eden. Now, Eden they travel to, and what happens is we learn a lot more different things about this character, the she, about what she's about, who she is, and what she was actually doing the last time she was there, and what she's basically going to do to Willem Dafoe's character. Now, let's just get into everything we know about this movie, everything maybe we want to avoid, and overall, this movie went right down the middle, actually right down the middle of the scoreboard, basically, for me. This is the highly controversial movie, directed by Lars von Trier, who did Dancers in the Dark, his E-trilogy, and Dogville. And now this movie got revered at Cannes, so much so that it got mixed critical reception. Some people said it was brilliant, some people absolutely hate this movie, and I'm right down the middle. I admire it, don't necessarily like it. Now, most of it was controversial for two reasons, and it's basically two scenes which I don't particularly like. Ejaculation of blood and a woman's part getting chopped off. So those are the two scenes, and just to say that they're not comfortable to sit through. If you are squeamish in any way, really miss this film at all costs. But here's the good parts, right? The direction of this film is solid, and also the performances are too. This is one of the most laughable but beautiful films I've seen. The starting opening to this film, while I hated the music to it, I couldn't help but laugh, but also just be taken back by how beautiful the film actually looked. And there's tons of scenes in this movie, even though half the time it doesn't make sense. There are scenes where they are imagining what it's like in this garden, and just some beautiful slow-mo shots. I mean, this really is a great looking film. The performances are solid. Charlotte Gainsbourg probably gives one of the most hard performances I've seen of all time to play. This was a wicked, twisted woman who was just really in an emotional turmoil for the most part. And Willem Dafoe, fine, he's there. I'm not a big fan of Willem Dafoe. I think his face is the scary part of this film. His face just looks so goddamn weird. But here's the problem. It's not that these scenes are disgusting or don't fit with the film, because right the way through this film I was not thinking of it being a horror film. I was expecting it to be a Lars von Trier horror film. Well, it's not that's the problem, which critics keep on saying. It's because it's laughable. Maybe not pretentious, but it is laughable, and for the most part, the thing that von Trier has forgotten is to try and entertain us, which you can't really do for this movie. And also, that he's forgotten about characters. There is no point to care about these characters. There is not good character development, and you just see no point for them being there. And also, my big problem is Lars von Trier. His film is, yes, while beautiful, I don't see his point. He wrote this in a deep bit of depression, and it never comes across as that. What happens through the film is that he's trying to get the messages that he's trying to say, but it's like he's all the characters, and there's only 2 characters in this movie, but he seems like he's just trying to get all... He's playing the characters, it's not the actors who are playing them, and it's not the characters trying to get across his point, it's Lars von Trier trying to get off his point. It doesn't make sense me saying it, but it does make sense when you watch it. So that's the problem, and that's the big problem. Even though the performances are good, the visual style is spectacular, and the scenes are, well, so-so, but even though this film is very suspenseful, and it builds up really nicely and really slowly, those 2 scenes really brought it down for me. That stupid talking fox for Chaos Reigns, please, give me a point for that. And overall, this movie just really didn't work for me. It wasn't in any way beautiful and scary at the same time like Martyrs, and it wasn't a particularly hard experience to sit through. It was a suspenseful one at times, it was this, that, but just not enough, and he completely screwed up his characters. Overall, this is a bit of a boring movie, but you have to see this movie. Even though I give it a low score, you have to see this movie to see why it's so controversial, why so many people hate it, why so many people love it, and you've got to experience it to see who you are. That's my review, and I give it a 5.5, maybe a 6. That's about all I can give it, because it's a really hard film to enjoy and a hard film to really even care about. I admire the film, I really just don't love it. So until next time, I'll see you later.